Yo, what's going on, YouTube family, the YouTube faithful? I appreciate you all checking out another episode of Trey Actions. I'm your humble host, Trey, and today we've got one of those videos, man. This one is American foods that are banned in other countries, and so I wanted to check this one out. A friend of mine sent this one to me, wanted me to react to it, so why not? Let's see if I agree or disagree, but either ways, I'm looking forward to it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and shut my mouth and let's just get into this video, man. YouTube was popping. Hope y'all ready to take this journey with me. American foods that are banned around the world in other countries. Lego.
Most Americans want to believe that the United States is the gold standard of clean food.
Okay.
But that belief may not hold up to scrutiny. From unsanitary practices in mass production to the addition of dangerous chemicals,
I just gotta ask, which Americans think that the United States of America is the gold standard for food? I don't know where you're getting this from, my guy, but I don't think I know many Americans who will say, I mean, we will say we love our shitty food, but I don't know when who says it's the gold standard for food.
from unsanitary practices in mass production to the addition of dangerous chemicals,
Oh,
countries have good reason to give the side eye to imported foods claiming to be USDA approved.
that is that's a thing. That's definitely a thing. If you notice, um, a lot of American products are American made products originally that are made in the U.S. The versions that are sold in places like here in Europe are usually lower in certain things that we don't have, right? Like sugar, for example. If you ever drank Coca-Cola, you can tell that there's a difference. Even though many Spaniards will tell me, Europeans will tell me that there's no difference. All I have to do is look at the can, and I can show you that there is a difference there because of regulations, and these are good regulations, right? Making sure that you keep a healthy population. A healthy population is a good population. If you go to Saudi Arabia, for example, you go to the Middle East, you'll notice that the Coca-Cola and the Pepsi, because there's no P sound, Pepsi has the sugar content in it. It's a lot higher than American sugar content. So these are things I've seen in my experience. Again, I don't know who said this was the gold standard for food.
The side eye to imported foods claiming to be USDA approved. That's right, this week we're talking about American foods that have been banned by other countries.
That USDA FDA approved is comical to me though.
But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. Then
It's weird to me because of the fact that most countries have one agency that regulates, foods that we consume. In the US, I can't even keep track of how many we have. Most people only know about the FDA and USDA. We don't look at things like the Department of Commerce, which like NIST, for example, which has standards for those foods, or anything in general that doesn't have a regulatory body, right? So sometimes some people say we don't want some departments will not touch them, and that's usually when NIST, National Institute for Standards and Technology, usually comes in and creates a standard. I didn't know this until I kind of sort of dabbled into that air into that realm when I first found out that there was a standard for peanut butter, and then got to find out there's a standard for a lot of other things. What's that standard for? Pretty much meaning that if you're going to create this in the US, these are the minimum ingredients you need. These are the minimum and maximum levels of what you need, things like that. They just create a standard for that meets the American standard, and as long as you create your product and you meet that standard, you're usually good to go. But again, that's NIST, NIST.
But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. Then leave a comment and tell us what other world food facts you would like to know more about. Now let's see how wrong the rest of the world really is.
Gosh, is that Jason Momoa? Oh my goodness.
Know more about. Now let's
Yep, that's Jason, all right. Back in his days, when he was on that one TV show and he was skinny and he was really, really weird on that show. He was dating her. I don't remember what her name is.
see how wrong the rest of the world really is.
Skittles, not
Since
the
the dawn of
Skittles.
Skittles, there have been rumors about the dangers of eating them. Every one of us heard at least one classmate claim that the red ones make you sterile, and the yellow ones, they give you cancer. Turns out, it might be worse than that. First of all, your classmate wasn't wrong. The dyes known as Yellow 5 and Yellow 6 have been linked to hives and hyperactivity in children. Sweden and Norway have banned the candies out of concern. The European Union will most likely be banning Skittles at the end of the year, having already swapped out some of the dye for
I've never seen Skittles here now that I think about it. Uh, yeah, I don't remember ever seeing Skittles the entire time I've lived here. I've seen Snickers, I've seen M&Ms, obviously, but I've never seen Skittles. I will take that upon myself to look.
more natural flavors. This is because of something called titanium dioxide, which can be found making the colors pop across the rainbow. Research linked titanium dioxide to damaged DNA, which can lead to cancer. While Europe may be ahead of the Skittles awareness curve, America is quickly catching up. In May of 2021, the Environmental Working Group asked the FDA to categorize titanium dioxide as toxic. And yes, before you ask, right now the FDA says it's okay to consume some of that chemical compound. You can taste the rainbow, but just in moderation.
You can taste the rainbow, but just in moderation. Ha! Ha! Yeah, as long as it's in moderation, you ain't getting cancer. Fuck.
California is home to an ongoing lawsuit against Mars Inc., the
Yep.
parent company of Skittles. The lawsuit claims Skittles are not only toxic, but are unfit for human consumption.
But damn, they taste good though.
So maybe for now, play it safe. Just go have some Swedish fish instead.
Oh boy, I'm not even ready for the bread. Uh, by the way, you're not gonna catch me eating those Skittles, and I don't do a lot of snacking. It's not really my thing. I prefer a real food and the occasional ice cream. But no, I really don't snack. I've got snacks in my house, but that's usually just for guests. Not even chips or crisp, as some people call it.
Ever looked at a piece of crusty French baguette, be it in cartoon or in real life, but let's be honest, it was probably in the hands of Pepe Le Pew, and think, I can't make a sandwich with that? As great as we talk about the invention of sliced bread, a lot of European countries have actually banned much of what you'd find on America's wide grocer shelves. That's because we make a lot of our bread not just with grain, but with a variety snap packs worth of additives. Like azodicarbonamide, for example, which helps bleach flour and strengthen dough. Fun fact about azodicarbonamide, it's also used in a spectrum of industrial products, including yoga mats. Downward dogs.
So this is not this I know to be real. This was a big thing. I remember back in the day when Subway got busted. Subway got busted for having this in the bread, but then it was like this whole big deal and it just disappeared. And what was funny is that you come to find out that it isn't just about all of our bread. Damn. Wonder why that bread stays good for a month.
The European Union is really against the idea of its citizens eating yoga mat material and has banned their use in food products.
Bravo, EU, bravo. Oh boy.
Pork, the other white meat, is a staple of American meats along with chicken, fish, and beef. From bacon to ham, hot dogs to pork chops. American meat eaters consume about 67 pounds of pig per person every year. Sweet.
Oh, 67 pounds per year of pork. I wonder how much the Spaniards taking. They gotta taking a lot more, but also they have healthier meat than we do.
My heart is stopping. Don't get us wrong, other nations indulge in swine just as much, if not more, than Americans.
Okay.
So why doesn't the U.S. export scores of succulent bacon-bearing boars? Well, it turns out America adds a lot of chemicals during processing. Ractopamine in particular is used in many pig farms to raise porkier porkers. Ractopamine, which we put a dash of in a lot of foods, has been banned in 160 countries, which all consider the drug unsafe for human consumption. This in turn has led to a prohibition of pork exports across the world. The EU hasn't touched the stuff since outlawing ractopamine in 2009. China and Russia have been ractopamine-less since 2013. Maybe that's because ractopamine has the same effects as an intoxicant on humans and can cause tachycardia, headaches, and muscle spasms if consumed in large enough quantities. But it is a small price to pay for a perfect piece of the pork.
Goodness. Yeah. And we wonder why. We wonder why things are as they are with our health. Sheesh.
Hygiene in America often comes down to dousing stuff in a chlorine bath and calling it FDA approved, and chicken is no exception. Pathogen reduction treatments, or PRTs, refer to the use of different chemicals to destroy harmful microbes on raw meat. Somewhere along the line, American food regulators decided a quick chlorine shock was the best way to kill salmonella and other bacteria on uncooked poultry. Chlorine marinade. And look, it's not that the EU is against taking a long gulp from the public pool now and then. In fact, the risks posed by chlorine consumption are relatively low. The bigger concern is that the chlorine baths are just an eye-burning band-aid on a larger problem, the tip of the beak, so to speak. They're worried that the PRTs are insufficient to deal with more than just the normal bacteria and don't get at a potential contamination from things like low-quality feed to unsanitary coops on farms. The EU called the chlorine deal with more
Them chickens is alive. They're alive.
than just the normal bacteria and don't get at
Hold up. These motherfuckers is alive.
PRTs are insufficient to deal with more than just the normal bacteria and don't get at a potential contamination from things like low-quality feed to unsanitary coops on farms. The EU called the chlorine rinse an easy fix, arguing no chemical rinse will ever remove all bacteria from meat heavily contaminated as a result of poor hygiene. That hurts extra to hear it from the French.
Damn. Damn. Yeah, that's the French.
Mountain Dew is the closest any soft drink has come to being fully weaponized. But did you know in Austria and Norway the soda is outright banned? That's because Mountain Dew's signature Chernobyl radiant hue comes from tartrazine, also known as yellow 5. And if your ADHD hasn't kicked in yet, you'll remember that color and number from the Skittles section earlier.
Yep.
It's been linked to headaches, hyperactivity, and the desire to be annoying to other people. Ironically, the qualities that make Mountain Dew a soda non gratis in other countries is exactly what the brand promotes: a frenetic, over-caffeinated lifestyle.
That's crazy. They just said Mountain Dew gives gives you the urge to want to be annoying towards others. That's hilarious. Um no, they didn't say that.
Other people. Ironically, the qualities that make Mountain Dew a soda non gratis in other countries is exactly what the brand promotes: a frenetic, over-caffeinated lifestyle. Do the do.
Do the do.
Baja Blast. Woo-hoo. And while you might be able to find Mountain Dew in Europe, it's going to hit a little different. That's because Europe spent exactly 2 years in the 90s riding the dew before discontinuing it. What is being sold as Mountain Dew in the EU has a recipe closer to the original carbonated beverage, as created by Tennessee beverage bottlers Barney and Ollie Hartman in the 1940s. The original Mountain Dew was meant as a whiskey mixer, with the name coming from the affectionate Scottish term for moonshine. It'll tickle your innards, is what the old ads used to read. No lies detected here.
That's pretty funny though. That's pretty cool history to actually learn about Mountain Dew and where the name comes from. That's neat. There's a time when my diet, just because I needed it because we're working about 18-hour days, my diet consisted of Mountain Dew and Snickers, probably 3, 4, 5 times a day. Yeah. Didn't have time to sit down for a proper meal except for until the end of the night most times. So yeah, Snickers and Mountain Dew gave me all the energy I needed. Now I'm thinking about how much that ruptured my insides probably, but it's a good thing I gave up on the sweets and the snacking. Little Debbie, Oh, I know this is horrible. I just know it.
Little Debbie has been providing Americans with comfort snack food since the 1960s. With their variety of zebra cakes, star crunches, nutty bars, fudge rounds, and cosmic brownies. But their big claim to fame, as anyone who has ever had their lunch packed by a parent can attest, is the Little Debbie Swiss Rolls, a mixture of rich chocolate cake and butter-creamy filling. Over 900 million cartons of Little Debbie products are shipped each year, but none of those cartons go anywhere near Austria or Norway.
I swear I'm gonna have diabetes by the end of this video. Holy crap.
Blame those rascally additives, yellow 5 and red 40. Swiss rolls
Again.
contain 32 milligrams of dye per product, and in those quantities, they've been shown to have an adverse effect on children. And we're not just talking about causing hyperactivity, although one study found that cutting all artificial food coloring from diets may be 1/2 as effective as prescribing kids Ritalin. And while we can't prove there's a direct connection between artificial food coloring and cancer, they do cause damage to white blood cells, causing them to mutate after only 3 hours. Exposure to these cause damage to white blood
He kind of looked like Mr. Beast.
cells, causing them to mutate after only 3 hours. Exposure to these dyes could cause tumor cells to multiply way more rapidly. For that reason, researchers say a high chronic intake of food colorings throughout the entire life is not advisable. If only they weren't so delicious. Surprisingly, you can buy Little Debbie's Swiss rolls in the EU, but they
Really?
come with warning labels advising parents of the potential dangers to kids. You know,
Wait. I don't think that's the real label that's on Little Debbie's, is it? Ain't no way. They're comparing Little Debbie's to cigarettes? I don't know. I gotta find this. I don't think that's a real label. I think he just put that on there.
like cigarettes. To kids. You know, like cigarettes.
Okay, just metaphor. Gotcha. Special K. God, that's horrible.
When you hear the words banned breakfast cereal, you're probably imagining one of the countless kid-focused brands of sugary morsels, like the oh-so-delicious Cookie Crisp. So you might be surprised to learn that it's actually Special K, the most boring cereal on all of the earth, that has been banned in Denmark and discouraged in the EU. How does the healthiest box of flakes on the shelf get banned, while stuff like Reese's Puffs and Cinnamon Toast Crunch continue to enjoy free passage? Ironically, because of its supposed health benefits. With Crunch Berries.
That's crazy. You claim to have 130 milligrams of folic acid per serving, but it is highly dangerous towards women and children. Like, what in the flying? Meat!
You don't need to take a transcontinental flight to visit countries that have banned American foods. Just drive up to the Canadian border, flash your passport, and sign an affidavit saying you're not smuggling any steak tartare in your trunk. Today, consuming raw meat has fallen out of fashion in the US, much like other foods like veal and pâté, which don't make you sick but might make you sad. But while baby cow and overstuffed goose liver is illegal in parts of America now, tartare is not. See, while veal and pâté may be uncool, they are also served hot. Unlike tartare, which is chopped up cold meat, straight from the cow. Undercooked or raw foods can lead to an increase in food poisoning and parasitic infections, especially in beef and poultry. But considering how fancy pants steak tartare is, Titanic food one might say, you'd think countries might look the other way and let the luxury delicacy slide. And for a long time they did. In Canada,
I feel you, Mr. Bean. I feel you.
meat has to reach an internal temperature of 145 degrees Fahrenheit, the equivalent of a medium rare steak, in order to be considered safe to serve. But those rules aren't strictly enforced. That is, until recently. In 2021, restaurant owners in New Brunswick selling steak tartare were all served cease and desist letters. Canadian public health officials had decided that amid the ongoing health crisis of COVID-19, the last thing their citizens needed was a side order of botulism.
Bring it on, Coca-Cola. I've been waiting for you. I knew you was going to be on this list.
Is there anything more American than Coca-Cola? The
America.
fizz, the flavor, the former secret ingredient, cocaine. Coke is basically apple pie in beverage form. And it's not just Americans who are cuckoo for Coke. Invented by a pharmacist in 1886 Georgia, Coca-Cola quickly caught on overseas.
ATL.
Invented by a pharmacist in 1886 Georgia, Coca-Cola quickly caught on overseas. It was the World War II GI's drink of choice. Pre-pandemic, Coca-Cola had 500 brands in over 200 countries, making it the best-selling soft drink and one of the most recognizable brands of all time. But there will always be exceptions, and unlike the other entries on the list, for once it has nothing to do with health concerns. Everybody knows that Coke is not good for you. We just decided collectively that we don't care. No, the countries that have outlawed the brand have done so because of what it represents, a symbol of the encroachment of American capitalism. From 1962 to 2011, the U.S. banned sales of Coke to Burma as part of sanctions against the military junta that ruled the country until 2011. It resumed sales in the country in 2012. Today, Coca-Cola is only unavailable in 2 countries with long-term trade embargoes with the U.S. North Korea hasn't allowed Coke since 1950, and the bubbly beverage has been banned in Cuba since Fidel Castro seized supplies in 1962. First the prequels, now Coke. Is there anything that can't be ruined by the federalization of trade taxation? In a twist of irony and lime, Cuba was actually one of the first bottlers of the beverage outside of America.
Wow.
Today, Cuba Cola has replaced Coke as the country's soft drink of choice, though black market sales abound. After all, it is the birthplace of the Cuba Libre, aka the rum and Coke.
Cuba Libre.
Cuba Libre. Black market sales abound.
Can you say Cuba Libre?
After all, it is the birthplace of the Cuba Libre, aka the rum and Coke. M&M's, the delicious melt-in-your-mouth, not-in-your-hand snacks, were originally...
By the way, on that Coke thing, if any of you are ever in Atlanta and you want to actually know uh, how Coke tastes in every country, the World of Coca-Cola, which is the Coca-Cola Museum, um, is an amazing, amazing museum for one. Probably one of the first 4D theaters in the world, and that I don't know. I think they've improved that theater so much. And when you're in there, you can all the smells, all everything touching you. If you ever get in the theater, go check it out. I think it's super amazing. But the main attraction is the giant fountains of Coca-Cola where you can try Coca-Cola from different continents, right? So in the Americas, you get to try Coca-Cola from that is how Coca-Cola tastes in Canada, how it tastes in the United States, how it tastes in Mexico, how it tastes in many countries in Latin America, and same thing, you have Coca-Cola Africa, how it tastes in different regions of Africa, Coca-Cola Europe, Coca-Cola Asia. So that's I think it's super super cool if you ever get a chance to be if you're ever in Atlanta, go ahead and check that out. And while you're there, might as well go check out that amazing aquarium they have down there. Yeah. So the Georgia Aquarium and World of Coca-Cola are 2 amazing attractions you should definitely check out if you're in Atlanta ever. And say what's up to my peoples.
Collaboration between the Scion sons of the Mars and Hershey dynasties in 1941. Like Coca-Cola, M&M's gained international fans during World War II, as American soldiers popularized the candy overseas as the chocolate that won't get your trigger finger all sticky. But you won't find the candy in Sweden, where it's banned due to a trademark conflict with a popular national candy that also features lowercase m's as its signature. When Mars introduced the candy to Sweden in 2009, a court ruled its marketing too similar to that of the Norwegian Marabous, which resemble Kit Kats. During World War I, Marabou had moved its manufacturing to its Swedish neighbors, where it received a royal warrant of appointment by the King of Sweden. And here we thought the Swiss were the chocolate snobs. Should you want to check out what the fuss is all about, Marabou's is sold in IKEA stores here in the US. Well, at least it's good to know that M&Ms don't contain any harmful dyes or chlorine residue, right? That's a pretty important victory for hard-shelled chocolate. So what do you...
That's crazy. I would have thought for a fact M&Ms had something in them, and they were just they just changed certain ingredients for Europe, but I guess not. That's pretty cool to know, though. I really enjoyed that. I enjoy that. It's cool to know about the foods that are banned in many places and that are legal in the U.S. and the reasons why. I actually enjoyed that one, man. Y'all keep them coming. Send me some more. I want to react to some more of these. Anyways, I'm your boy Trey, the American in Spain, and I will see you on another episode of Trey Actions. If you're liking the content, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll see y'all on the next episode of Trey Actions. Peace.